A group member asked a great question this week. How do you get more traffic to your website for free? And so paid advertising really works, right? That's why they can charge so much money for it. But it's really a whole other beast. And so I want to save that for a different day. If you're interested, though, let me know in the comments so that I know that's actually relevant for you. So today, though, we're going to be talking about free methods, talking about really how to increase that organic traffic where you're basically promoting your website for free on Google and other places using search engine optimization and other techniques like good old-fashioned psychology. Okay, so we'll be talking about how to drive new viewers to your website, then how to drive repeat viewers back to your website, and finally, some tips that really apply to both of those categories. So, number one is how do you increase new viewer traffic to your website? I'll be giving two tips for this. Number one, be where they are. Gone are the days where you could just write and just hope that people would find you. Now you really have to get in front of them. So yes, that does mean things like getting in Facebook groups and then actually promoting there, letting people see what kind of value you can bring to the table, but also in threads where people are having conversations about your topic or in places where people are having conversations about your topic. You know, Google loves to see your links everywhere if they're relevant, right? If you just hire a company to kind of spray your links around the world, the algorithms pick up on that. They're extremely sophisticated. But if it's relevant content, then yeah, it really gives Google a little clue to, hey, this is where people are talking about this, and this is something that might add value to them. Okay, another way to do this is through things like collaboration. So go to people that already have an audience that are your potential viewers and let them basically do a lot of the work for you, which is, acquiring a new viewer is really difficult. So let them do that work for you and then go there and do something like a mini training or a cross promotion with that person so that you can get in front of their people. Another really great way to think about this is with guest posting. Guest posting by far is probably like the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to time spent on trying on organic methods of driving people to your website. If you can get a guest post placed on a really well-known website that then links back to yours, Google then believes that you have more credibility and authority, and it raises all of your search engine rankings across your site for all of your blog posts to an extent. So that's really powerful. But on top of that, you have the potential within 24 hours, if a guest post really hits well, to drive just thousands of people back to your website overnight. And if that article then ranks well on Google because it's a well-known site, you could get long-term lead generation there as well, long-term traffic. So guest posting, if you want to hear more about that, comment in the comments as well. Let me know that that interests you. Okay, what you're really doing with both of these things is you're allowing social proof to work for you, which is just the part of the human brain that says, if someone that I trust recommends this person, I'm more likely to believe in that person. And I have a video that I did a couple weeks ago on how to get more clients. I'm going to link to that below, but it really goes into more depth about that. So I recommend that you take a little bit of a minute and just watch that video. But basically, when you are guest posting on an important site like Entrepreneur Magazine or something, and they mention you if you're, featured in a article that is written by one of their authors, for instance, or if you have your own guest post, people automatically imagine that they really are recommending you. And so it bumps up your authority and your credibility. But also when actual people, actual friends share the articles, it's also really, really important. and it means a lot to people. Oh, they think it's important. They think it's valuable. Let me go check this out. Okay, so you should always have one call to action on your blog posts. And that one, most of the time, should be share this. So listen, if you have found this helpful, if you think there's even one person you know that could also benefit from this, please share it. Ask for a really sincere share there and allow that to kind of exponentially increase and flourish. All right, the second thing then is search engine optimization, SEO. Huge one, big one. We can make hundreds of videos about this. But just a really important way to think of it, and something that I think a lot of people aren't thinking about, is that you really need to know exactly what your people are looking for. And here's the deal, so often we think we know what they need to know, but that's not what they're actually searching for. That's not how they describe it. That's not the solution they think may be a potential solution for them. So in order to figure that out, there's a great Chrome extension called Keywords Everywhere, and that will show you what people are searching for. If you type one search term into pretty much any search engine, then for instance, Google, it will show you some other related search topic, and it'll also give you the volume. It'll let you know how many people are searching for that topic or topics like that. And here's the deal. You really want to look obviously at terms that people are actually searching for. There's no point in you trying to rank for terms that people are not searching for, but you also want to start out low. So in the beginning, your website will not have the authority, according to Google, that some of the other big hitters will have. And so trying to rank on those search terms that have mega volume will just be kind of like shouting in the wind. So reel it back in, start with baby steps, and go for lower, search terms. They tend to be longer search terms that fewer people are searching for, but where you have a better chance of actually ranking really well. And just remember to put those keywords everywhere. So it's also in the metadata of your site. If you have pictures posted in that blog, they should also contain the keywords. The title for sure should contain the keywords. You want to make sure that you have about at least 1,000 words, around 1,000 words in your blog post. You want to make sure that the keywords also show up there, and related keywords also show up there. Now, you're not just stuffing your content. You actually want to speak in a conversational way, and you want to make sure that it's something that Google will believe is authentic and real, right? And not just a place where you're stuffing a lot of keywords, but you do actually want to make sure that they're in there. Think about things like your topic subject headings, and words that you bold, words that you capitalize, things that you're doing to show Google that, hey, this is really important and this is what I'm going to be talking about in the next paragraph. Okay, and definitely remember that Pinterest is also a search engine. So the same thing applies. Those keywords are really, really important for Pinterest. And you can then look at the title and you can see what things are trending and what's important. Because here's the thing, so often people create really heavy, great value posts, but then they just throw a title on there at the end of the day just to get it published. But the title is the most important part of your post, because people won't click on it if they don't actually like the title. So spend some time on the title because it's really, really super important. Okay, for repeat customers, you want to, in the old days, people would sign up for the RSS feed and they'd get notified when you had a new blog post. But unfortunately, that just doesn't happen anymore. People aren't really doing that as much. So you want to make every effort that you can to get them onto your list. And that requires offering them something in exchange for their email address, like a really important piece of information, a lead magnet of some sort, where they'll be willing to give up that information for you. And then also think about allowing people to actually get to know you, because then they'll want to come back. So think about that engagement, actually responding to people that comment on your posts, they don't tend to do it as much on the blog posts anymore. They tend to do it more in social settings like Facebook, but always be there to be a real person and actually answer back. And also provide teasers. So for instance, put something in there that incentivizes and motivates people to want to come back to your site. It can be like, hey, we're doing a 5-part series. This is part number 2. Or it can be, stay tuned for next week because I'll be talking about exactly how to do this thing that I've just been describing. Something like that. Okay, so we've talked about new traffic, both being where they are and search engine optimization. And then we've talked about repeat customers. But here are some things that work for both of those categories. Know them. Really know your people. Understand the psychology of that because you really need to know exactly what they're thinking about and what they are searching for, how they perceive their problem, the kind of solutions they're thinking about, and why. And why, like what really moves them? What is driving them? This is just critically important. And yes, a tool like Keywords Everywhere can give you a leg up on some of that information, but the best thing by far is actually getting on the phone and really talking to somebody. So, and a great way to increase your know, like, and trust value is to use video on your blog. Not enough people are doing that. This just, when people are actually able to see you and hear you and pick up on all of those nonverbal clues, that just like fills up their database in terms of what they know about you. And they feel like they know you better than they would if they're just reading your words on a page. And so allow yourself to like get into the video moment here, do some video work because you can then repurpose that onto YouTube. And not as, even though it seems like everyone's doing video, not as many people are doing video. And so you'll tend to rank higher there than you would just for a blog post. So one thing to make sure is that you're using those keywords in the actual content of your video as well. And then you are allowing subtitles on your video so that Google can actually read the content of your video and hear those, well, hear and see those search terms talked about and know that it's actually relevant content. So very, very important there. And then in the comments of YouTube or in the description, link back to your website. Allow Google to see kind of that circuitous loop so that then your blog posts can also rank higher. Really important. And last thing is social proof. When we're talking about psychology, I mentioned this briefly before, but it's getting other people to post for you or other people to share their credibility with you, because that, you know, at the end of the day, yes, it's a world of algorithms, it's a world of numbers, it's a world of volume, but each of those statistics is a real person that's driven by human psychology and real human needs. So that's what I've got for you today. New traffic, not forgetting about repeat traffic, and then remembering that these are all real people that have very specific ways of thinking about their problem and searching for information about their problem. And it really helps if you can get personal and you can really engage in with your people. So if you found this helpful, if there's even one person that you think could benefit from this, please do share. And if you have any questions at all, please pop those into the comments. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.